The winter of 1999 was cold in Baltimore, Maryland, but the chill that settled over Woodlawn High School on January 13th wasn't just from the weather. Hae Min Lee, an 18-year-old senior, was last seen driving her gray Nissan Sentra away from the school parking lot, her bright smile fading into the gray afternoon. She was a vibrant presence, athletic, smart, and kind, a standout in the magnet program with dreams of becoming an optician. She played lacrosse and field hockey, managed a wrestling team, and carried herself with a quiet confidence that drew people to her. But that day, Hae didn't make it to pick up her younger cousin from daycare, nor did she show up for her shift at LensCrafters. Her family knew something was wrong. Hae was reliable, the kind of person who kept her promises. Weeks later, on February 9th, a maintenance worker named Alonzo Seller stumbled across a shallow grave in Leakin Park, a wooded area notorious for being a dumping ground for bodies. The discovery confirmed the worst fears of Hae's family. Her body, partially buried, showed signs of manual strangulation. The news sent shockwaves through the tight-knit Korean-American community and the halls of Woodlawn High, where Hae had been a beloved figure. The Baltimore Police Department launched a homicide investigation, and suspicion quickly turned to Hae's ex-boyfriend, Adnan Syed. Adnan, a 17-year-old Pakistani-American, was as much a golden boy as Hae was a star. A straight-A student, homecoming king, and varsity football player, he worked part-time as a paramedic and was known for his charm and easygoing nature. He and Hae had dated in secret during their junior year, their relationship a delicate dance around cultural and religious differences. Hae's diary, later revealed in court, described Adnan's possessiveness, but also her affection for him, calling him the sweetest guy, during their prom night in 1998. Their breakup in late 1998 had been messy, though, with Hae moving on to date Don, a co-worker at LensCrafters. The prosecution would later argue that this rejection fueled Adnan's motive for murder. The case against Adnan hinged on the testimony of Jay Wilds, a classmate and small-time marijuana dealer, who claimed Adnan confessed to killing Hae. Jay's story was vivid, if inconsistent. He told police that on January 13th, Adnan called him to Best Buy's parking lot, where he showed Jay's body in the trunk of her car. Jay said he helped Adnan bury her in Leakin Park that evening, a grim task completed under the cover of dusk. Cell phone records showing calls pinging towers near Leakin Park seemed to corroborate Jay's account, placing Adnan in the area around 7 p.m. But Jay's story shifted over time. Details about the timeline, locations, and even his own role changed in each retelling, raising questions about his credibility. Adnan, for his part, maintained his innocence. He claimed he was at school, then the library, and later at track practice on the day Hae vanished. A classmate, Asia McLean, supported this alibi, saying she saw Adnan at the library around 2:30 p.m., a time that clashed with the prosecution's tight timeline of the murder. Yet, Adnan's defense attorney, Cristina Gutierrez, never called Asia to testify, a decision that would later haunt the case. Gutierrez's performance was erratic, marked by mistrial in December 1999 after a heated exchange with a judge, who called her a liar in earshot of the jury. By the time the second trial began in January 2000, the prosecution had built a narrative. Adnan, heartbroken and possessive, had planned Hae's murder, lured her to a secluded spot, and strangled her in a fit of rage. The trial was a clash of stories. The prosecution leaned on Jay's testimony, Hae's diary entries about Adnan's possessiveness, and the cell phone data. They painted a picture of a calculated crime, arguing Adnan asked Hae for a ride after school under false pretenses, only to kill her within a narrow window before her daycare pickup. The defense countered that Jay was unreliable, the cell phone evidence was shaky, and Adnan had no history of violence. Friends and family described him as gentle, devout, and incapable of such a brutal act. Yet, after a 6-week trial and just 2 hours of deliberation, the jury convicted Adnan on February 25, 2000, of first-degree murder, kidnapping, robbery, and false imprisonment. He was sentenced to life plus 30 years. The case might have faded into obscurity, another tragedy in Baltimore's long list of homicides, if not for Sarah Koenig's podcast serial, which premiered in 2014. Koenig, a former Baltimore Sun reporter, dove into the case after a tip from Rabia Chaudhry, Adnan's childhood friend and an attorney who believed in his innocence. Serial dissected the investigation, exposing holes in prosecution's case. Jay's inconsistent stories, the untested DNA evidence, and Asia McClain's alibi. The podcast became a cultural phenomenon, downloaded over 100 million times by 2016, and sparked global debate. Was Adnan a wrong teenager or a cunning manipulator? Koenig's meticulous reporting didn't provide answers, but it raised enough doubt to reopen the case. In 2015, Rabia Chaudhry, along with attorneys Susan Simpson and Colin Miller, launched Undisclosed. The State versus Adnan Syed, a podcast that dug deeper into the evidence. They uncovered new issues, including an affidavit from Abraham Warnowitz, the prosecution's cell phone expert, who admitted his original testimony about tower data was misleading. By 2016, a Maryland court granted Adnan a new trial, citing ineffective counsel from Gutierrez and questions about the cell phone evidence. But the legal saga was far from over. The Maryland Court of Special Appeals upheld a conviction in 2019, ruling that while Gutierrez's performance was deficient, it didn't change the trial's outcome. In September 2022, a dramatic turn came when Baltimore prosecutors, led by State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, moved to vacate Adnan's conviction. They cited new evidence. Handwritten notes from 1999 identifying an alternate suspect who had threatened Hae's life, never disclosed to the defense, a potential Brady violation. DNA testing on Hae's shoes also excluded Adnan as a contributor. Judge Melissa Finn overturned conviction, and Adnan walked free after 23 years, greeted by cheers outside the courthouse. Prosecutors dropped all charges in October 2022, seemingly exonerating him. But the victory was short-lived. Hae's brother, Young Lee, appealed, arguing he wasn't given enough notice to attend the vacator hearing in person, a violation of Maryland's victims' rights laws. In March 2023, an appellate court reinstated Adnan's conviction in a 2-1 decision, faulting a lack of transparency in the vacator process and the failure to identify the alternate suspects. The Maryland Supreme Court upheld this ruling on August 30th, 2024, ordering a new hearing while allowing Adnan to remain free. On February 25th, 2025, Baltimore State's Attorney Ivan Bates withdrew the motion to vacate, but supported a sentence reduction under the Juvenile Restoration Act, given Adnan's age at the time of the crime. On March 6th, Judge Jennifer Schiffer resentenced Adnan, the time served plus 5 years of supervised release, leaving his conviction intact but ending his incarceration. The case remains a labyrinth of questions. Who was the alternate suspect mentioned in the 1999 notes? Why wasn't Hae's car tested for DNA in 1999, when it might have held critical evidence? Some point to Roy Davis, a serial rapist convicted of another murder in Baltimore, as a possible suspect, noting similarities between the crimes. Others speculate about Jay Wilde's deeper involvement, given his knowledge of Hae's car location. Online forums like Reddit buzz with theories. Was it a random act, a drug deal gone wrong, or a crime of passion? The serial effect has kept the case alive, with listeners and amateur sleuths dissecting every detail, from cell tower pings to Hae's diary entries. For Hae's family, the legal twists are a fresh wound. Young Lee and their mother, Yoon Kim, have expressed frustration, feeling their loss has been overshadowed by the media frenzy. Hae was more than a case. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend whose life was cut short. Her diary, filled with teenage dreams and struggles, paint a picture of a young woman navigating love, identity, and ambition. The lack of closure gnaws at her family, who continue to seek justice. Adnan, now 43, works at Georgetown University, his life forever shaped by the case. He insists he's innocent, speaking of Hae with respect and sorrow. Yet, the reinstated conviction hangs over him, a shadow of doubt that may never lift. The Maryland Supreme Court's order for a new hearing keeps the case alive, but whether it will bring clarity remains uncertain. Forensic advancements could still unlock answers. DNA from Hae's clothing or car might point to the true killer. Until then, the murder of Hae Min Lee remains a haunting mystery, a story of loss, love, and a justice system grappling with its own flaws. The woods of Leakin Park hold their secrets, and Hae's voice, silenced too soon, echoes in the questions that linger. Who killed her? Was it betrayal by someone she trusted, or a stranger's cruelty? The truth, like Hae's body in that shallow grave, remains just out of reach, buried under layers of time, testimony, and doubt.